Alright guys, this modification is an absolute game changer for comfort on your Harley Street Bob. Alright everybody, what is up? What is up? As always, thanks for stopping by to another video today. We are down here in South Philadelphia with my 2022 Harley Davidson Softail Street Bob, and I have finally done something to the bike that you guys may have noticed that a lot of people have been telling me to do for quite a while now. I finally swapped out the stock Street Bob bars for this new riser and mid bend bar setup here. So in this video today, we're going to go over what my setup is, a little bit about what the install was like, and then some of the features and comfort that you are going to gain and notice and see from a setup like this. Also tell you a little bit about my experience, the handling, the riding with my size and everything like that. So if you guys have any questions about this setup, feel free to drop them down in the comments and let me know. Also, let me know what your favorite bar and riser setups are for your Softail Street Bobs, or any Softail really, because obviously a lot of those are very interchangeable. Alrighty guys, so let's go over a little bit of what this setup is, some of the aesthetic off the bike, then we'll hop on, talk a little bit about handling, performance, and things like that when you are actually riding the bike. So alrighty guys, so as you can see, this is the Thrashin Supply 6.5 inch riser. I believe that is a 1.5 inch pullback to the riser, and then I went with the Thrashin Supply mid-bend bar to match with that riser, as you guys can see here. So first off, why did I go with this setup, or why did I pick these sizes? For me, I'm a little bit of a shorter rider. I come in at about 5'5", 5'6", so my goal was really to get a little bit lower than what the stock setup was. If you guys are familiar with this, I think the stock setup has about a 2-inch riser on it, and then the 10-inch mini apes putting you at about 12 inches. You do have the flexibility to pull that back and forth to get it closer to you. But with this setup here, what I was looking to accomplish was dropping my setup down a little bit lower and bringing my hands in a little bit closer. So with the 6.5 inch riser here, I like the pullback that comes towards you. And then I went with the mid-bend bar because this has about a 4-inch rise to it. That's going to give you some flexibility to adjust this forward or backward depending on your needs. So I kind of thought in my head, if this pullback isn't enough, I can always slide these forward towards me and get that even just a little bit closer. So I have this pretty much dialed in just the way I like it now, with my reach and where the bend is in my elbows on this. And of course, this does come with the cutout for the Street Bob LCD display screen right here. So just a really good overall, good, clean looking setup. We'll go over some of the performance and features a little bit later. That, in my opinion, is really going to get you just a little bit more comfortable than the stock setup. Again, that's all preference as far as you like how to ride, how do you like to feel comfort, your size and everything like this. But this has worked out really well for me. I've got over 1,000 miles on this setup already, so I'm really kind of in tune with it to where it sits right now, working out really well for me. As far as the install, I will say that it is definitely doable for just kind of your everyday motorcycle guy who likes putting his own stuff. I've done mostly everything myself to my bike, just simple bolt-on parts and stuff like that. If you're that mechanically inclined, you should be able to do this. You're just going to remove the old bars, pull out the wires, remove the controls, all that good stuff, rewire them, mount them back up. That's a very, very simple description of it, but it did take me a little while. It is tedious, I would say, but not very complicated. I was a little nervous. I've never really messed around with the wiring harness or anything down here, but once I got into it, everything was really smooth and simple. It took me probably 4 to 4.5 hours. I did it by myself. It was kind of hard with just one set of hands, but it is definitely doable to do by yourself. If you guys do have any questions on the installation, feel free to let me know. I can try to help you out as best I can. But as far as another piece to this that I felt was very important to mention, a lot of people always told me about the bushings that are right here. I replaced these and used the stock bushings because the new upgraded ones from Thrashin were back ordered and didn't come in time. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead, place the risers, get the bar set up going, and then once I do get those bushings, I'll just remove the risers real quick and place them in there. So one of the differences that I will really say that you're going to notice is those stock bushings, you're still going to get a lot of vibration up through here with this new setup. As soon as I replaced the bushings, definitely helped with a lot of that. So I would say if you're going to do any of this while you're in there, definitely replace those bushings. It's a huge benefit, huge help. I've been out on the highway. I've complained before about my hands, wrists, arms getting fatigued from that vibration through the handlebars. It's not totally gone, but I can say it definitely is so much better with those upgraded bushings down in there over the stock ones. Alrighty guys, so that was a little bit on looks and installation. If you guys have any questions on that, feel free to let me know down in the comments. But let's hop on the bike now, give you a little idea of what this is going to look like while you're riding it, what you're going to feel with this change, or at least what I have noticed. Alrighty guys, so this is what we have from kind of a setup and cockpit perspective. Grips, controls, levers, all that stuff, you're going to have to get that readjusted once you get everything on here, but not a real lot of whole change there. The really good thing about this is what I like is this is going to raise your gauge up a little bit closer towards you and angle it kind of right into your line of sight. If you guys are familiar with a stock setup, you're going to remember that the gauge is down low towards the bottom here, and it's not at a really great angle either. Sometimes the sun can hit it in weird ways and you can't really see what's going on there. This really gives it a good, nice angle, brings it up closer to you. I haven't had any issues with reflection or sun either since having it raised up and angled, pointing more this way instead of up. So I got my hands out on the bars here. I already mentioned, like I said, this is the mid-bend bar from Thrashin. I did this so I could roll this bar forward and get it a little bit closer. With less bend, you're going to have less opportunity for adjustment, so I felt like 4-inch rise was a kind of a good mid-range there. And once I put these on, I did have to roll them back a little bit. So you can see my elbows, I've got just kind of a slight bend, which is pretty good, and my arms are just kind of below my shoulder. My hand comes out a little bit lower than my shoulder. And the other thing that I like too is that this is going to bring your arms in a little bit closer, so your hands are going to get closer together, as opposed to that stock bar which kind of spreads out a little bit wider. And I got used to the handling, but in my opinion, it just didn't feel great sometimes. This really kind of brings me specifically down and in a little bit, which gives me a lot better grip on the handling and lets me get a little bit more aggressive with my riding. So let's go ahead and start it up and take it out on the road a little bit. So as far as performance goes, like I said, this should allow you to get a little bit more aggressive with your riding if that's your thing. I'm not the most aggressive rider in the world, but I do like having just that little bit of extra confidence of being able to just be in better control of the bike, being in a little bit closer and tighter over that stock Mini Ape setup. Another thing you guys are going to notice right away is just the tightness and stiffness of this setup. So you get it locked in really good with these risers. Again, those bushings help so much. You don't feel any kind of flex or bend in this. I'm kind of like reefing on it a little bit here. It just really gives you a lot more confidence in like your inputs of leaning, turning, pressing, pushing to kind of make some of those turns and things. That was one of the things that I really noticed right away, was just kind of that extra stiffness and rigidity here. No more flex, really kind of like good quick inputs and things like that when you get into your riding to push, pull, counter steer and all that. So I have done a good bit of traveling as well with these on the highway. I'm personally in a really good position here. My arms are not fatigued. I've got a slight bend in them. Wrists, hands all feel good from that minimal vibration of replacing the bushings, and it was a really good experience traveling those 1,000 miles. I did a trip across PA, did a trip down to Shenandoah National Park, and this setup really made a world of difference. I didn't have any upper back pain, no shoulder pain, felt really good. So really happy and pleased with this setup so far. If you guys do have any questions on kind of like the performance, the look, the feel, definitely drop those down in the comments. I'll try to help you out with any questions there, but just to kind of reiterate to you guys again, I'm a little bit of a shorter rider, shorter arms, things like that. I'm around 5'5", 5'6", and this 6.5 inch with 4-inch mid-bend bar is really good for me. You could maybe go with the lower bend bar, but then again, like I said, you have less opportunity for adjustments there. But for me, I've got this really dialed in. Again, if you're taller, you're probably going to be coming down a little bit. If you're shorter, might be coming up just a tad with this setup. Really just kind of like all personal preference and what your comfort is. And the reason I went with Thrashin over some of those is I just kind of really liked the look, the quality of it. Everything came together really nicely in my opinion. I know there is some setups where they come all as one piece. I didn't necessarily want that because, like I said, I wanted a little bit of that flexibility to adjust the bar forwards and backwards, but a lot of this, like I said, is definitely going to be personal preference for you guys. So we actually ended up down here at the Navy Yard. Pretty cool spot down in South Philly. See all the ships and boats and freight and all that cool stuff. But we'll go ahead and start to wrap this one up. Again, guys, this is the Thrashin 6.5 inch with pullback riser, and then the mid-bend 4-inch rise bar. Throw the bushings in there. You guys are going to be super happy with this setup. Again, fairly simple-ish install. Just takes time and patience as you're going ahead and doing that. Again, guys, like I said, if you guys have any questions on this setup, performance, looks, why I chose it, how it's working out for me, anything like that, go ahead and drop it down in the comments. But that's going to go ahead and wrap this one up for now. As always, guys, make it a good one out there. Ride safe. As always, it's the Moto John. We'll see you all on down the road. Peace.